the day absolutely and completely. My name is Mavis Atadume. Welcome to High Voltage. You can join us live on YouTube at High Voltage News. Please like, subscribe, and share. You will be taking our channels to a very great level and doing us a big favor by doing that. You can also call live into the studio to help analyze and, of course, share your thoughts and views and contributions on the headlines we are reviewing this morning. You can call 0706 048 5853. You can also call 0915 570 8347. Inflation hits 34.8% in December 2024. Nigeria's headline inflation rate rose to 34.8% in December, a 0.2% increase from November. This is attributed to higher food and energy prices only. The inflation rate that went 0.2% in December 2024 was caused solely for the sake of food and energy prices. Now, this is 2025, and we are standing at 34.8% from last year. And from the look of things in the market, energy and food prices will continue to do a hike as far as the present systems are still in place and concerned. Now, question is, whatever happens about this assertion? Because apparently our politicians have gone ahead to mind their businesses, which is the 2027 election. And from the look of things, that seems to be what's on everybody's mind, from the Edo APC tribunal clash to the unhealthy politics being preached by Abejide, telling his supporters to leave Falaki out of unhealthy politics. So they've started bantering each other. They've started throwing jibes at each other. The affairs of the country is slowly being pushed to the side as they are focusing on the importance and emergence of 2027. Now, the people are still grappling. The people are still suffering the consequences of the 2023 election, and we're not even completely 2 years in yet. We will be 2 years in by March 23rd, and by March 28th, we'll be completely doing 2 years of the Bola Tinubu administration. Now, so far so good. Nigerians have no evidence of this government except that life has become increasingly unbelievable. Right? That is the only testimonial of this government. If you think otherwise, I invite you to prove me wrong. Right? So the question that I still continue to remind the Nigerian people is, while we are dealing with the consequences of our previous actions and getting ready to repeat said action again, question raging is, what are we going to do? Have we changed our mindsets about the kinds of people we expect to run things here? We're expecting to play it like we have always done. We will misappropriate money. All the monies missing now will probably make an appearance in 2026 and 2027. And some of us will take these monies, take these little piece of gifts and promises, some of them, most of them, being a lie or maybe a facade. A mountain built on a molehill. Your future promised the way. The future of your children promised the way for bags of rice that you should be able to attain and afford as a working Nigerian. But presently, your minimum wage cannot afford said bag of rice. What do you think will happen in 2027 when they begin to churn out these bags of rice that cost more than you will earn working for the Nigerian government? You do not think there's something fishy going on. Anyways, welcome to the program. Let me take you straight to the headlines so that you will hear for yourselves. In case you're not already familiar with what's on the news this morning, let me take you to the Daily Post and tell you that demolitions, community groans as Akwa Ibom government sacks over 50 families. All right, it's a land dispute. It's a land-related situation in Akwa Ibom. If you were affected, I'm sorry, but you need to sort that out with the government. Moving forward, Wike revokes government. Bamidele, Anyanwu, and Nnamdi Moro, and 563 others land. All right, let's take that again. Wike revokes governors. Bamidele, Anyanwu, and Nnamani. I'm thinking that will be Chimaroke Nwani and Moro and other 563 people's lands in Abuja. It's getting serious. Wike is not joking about his assignment, as it seems. And that's it on the news this morning. Terrorists ambush troops in Borno. Soldiers and civilians are missing. We have work to do. All right. In Imo State, Uzodima's 5-year characterized by terror, killings, and corruption, PDP alleges. Imo State, Uzodima's 5 years was characterized by terrorism, killings, and corruption, says the PDP. Don't forget that Imo State government is run by the APC, and of course the opposition has come up with this headline. To find out more, please go to High Voltage News on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and share. And you can also call here into the studio to share your thoughts on these stories with me this morning. You can call 0706 048 5853. Also, you can call 0915 570 8347. The phone lines are officially open. The First City Monument Bank announces appointment of executive director. So, if you are interested, you can find out more on that. Tinubu invites the UAE president to Nigeria. That might be good for investment and stuff. I'm just wondering if all of this is smart business choice. Because apparently there's so much we can be doing at home. There's so much we can do at home. But the foreign mentality is also in our politics. Foreign trips, foreign medical care, foreign health care, foreign vacations, foreign businesses, nothing at home. The Igbos will call such a person or coming a people who have a very outside view, but when at home, the other way round. Let's continue to review the papers. Governor Abiodun mourns late Onanuga and describes death as a monumental loss. All right, moving forward, IGP sets up anti-money laundering units to fight terrorism financing. All right. Okay, moving on. Nigerians deserve hardship that they are going through, says Apostle Suleiman. All right. Nigerians deserve hardship they are going through, says Apostle Suleiman. All right. I want to see if I agree with that statement. I think it's a 50-50. Yeah. It's you deserve it for not listening, and then it's you don't deserve it because most of us don't even know why we're here. There's a lot of information overload around here. A lot of us think we actually know what it is that we're doing. Our intelligence seems to mislead us sometimes, puts us in a delusion, if you will, and it makes us not to see what the problem really is. And it makes us to pursue our shadows instead of the object. You know, things like tribalism and religion and certain ideologies put a big dent on our unity because we don't have a general interest. You know, every time we have a unified interest, there is always something that makes it unworthy. It's either the messenger or the person who has come up with this ideology does not fit the description of what we want, or they do not appear the way we like. And then it's a whole lot of unhealed situation with us as a nation. We're acting like people who have very terrible childhoods, which we did. And now we're struggling in our adult life to make put all of it together, the experiences of colonialism, the experiences of being told what to do, the experiences of suppression, has left a trauma in our people. So we think that what is ours might not necessarily be that important until someone from outside pays us validation. This is happening in our music industry. It's happening in our movie industry. It's happening in our politics. It's happening even in our family lives, where we tend to value outside validation. We require it. It's like food that we need to feed, and it makes us feel better that other people think we're doing okay. Think for a moment if that particular validation was coming from inside. Imagine that we liked ourselves enough to think that our language was good enough, our politics was good enough. Imagine that we assume that our money is good enough, our Medicare is good enough, our politics is good enough, our judiciary is good enough. Imagine that we can put this trust in ourselves, that we can walk up ourselves enough to believe in ourselves this strongly, without having to depend on other institutions that work, because we're very good at citing examples with people who have disciplined themselves, with people who have a trajectory that they are following. They are consistent. They have a maintenance culture. They have a remembrance culture where they continue to follow the program. They don't deviate. They don't break the code. They don't betray their people or their country. We like to cite them as our yardstick for measurement, but we're never willing to do the work. We're never willing to actually do what it takes to become those people. We just nit and pick where we think it's convenient, where we need to sound very verbose, when we need to show how eloquent we are. We're very good with quoting who is doing well, whose institution is working, whose judiciary is working. We quote people that have a legal system that work. We quote people that have a political system that people respect. But we lack all of these measures at home. We lack all of these characteristics at home. Now, instead of settling the problems, how do we solve these problems? At least the much we know is wrong with us. How can we fix it? How do we get our people to prioritize? How do we get to prioritize ourselves? The federal government told us yesterday that they would spend 8 billion naira in reorientating Nigerians on paying electricity bills. I would say let's put that money in reorientating Nigerians to at least know that they are enough. I know you think this campaign I just talked about is little. Let's put 8 billion naira in the remember that you are Nigerian campaign. Can we do that? Can we make it all about Nigeria, not a way to actually take money from anybody? Can we put 8 billion naira into reorientating Nigerians to love Nigeria? Can we do an I Love Nigeria campaign? Can we do certain things that will bring back nationality, unity to the Nigerian people? Thereby, it will also force people and kickstart people into doing things that are Nigerian conscious. Have we ever thought about that? Perhaps the Nigerian Orientation Agency should probably look into this and see, instead of wasting money in reorientating Nigerians on paying NEPA bills, which we have paid all our lives, the foreigners who would probably look at this particular headlines would probably think that you've been giving us electricity for free. They would think that you've been giving Nigerians electricity for free, whereas we have been paying for it. All of our lives, we've paid for this electricity. We've paid through our noses for it. We continue to pay. And now you say you want to reorientate us in paying bills, in paying electricity bills, like you've been giving us for free, or like we don't know that we pay electricity bills. How about you put this money into something that actually wakes this country up? How about we put this 8 billion naira in the Know Your Right Nigerian campaign? How about that? Can we do that? Can we actually put that money into that? Do you care? Do you care to raise the intelligence level of the Nigerian, or you prefer her to be as daft as she is? Because in her foolishness, she is going away. She is going away. Her resources siphoned by her enemies. And the country is going hungry. She cannot feed her children. She's losing them in numbers to banditry and kidnapping and terrorism. She's losing her children to hunger and starvation. A crate of egg in the market is 6,800 naira to 7,000 naira. Eggs. When we say thousands in this country in recent times, it's an embarrassment because it doesn't sound like it. We have so dragged ourselves down. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the future is. I don't know what the arrangement is. Someone should probably help me figure out where the future of this thing is, because we keep saying it's going to be better and we keep saying these things, and from the look of things, you do a calculation over the years, it's not getting better. We are getting poorer. It doesn't matter how you like to coin it. You might think a particular sector is doing better, which I'm hearing a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying a lot of a certain side of the country is doing better. No, you're not doing better. I'm sorry to say this, the Igbos, you're not doing better. I hear the side talks, I hear the snide talks, where we say things like we're not as bad as the rest. I'm sorry. These statements are wrong. Because as much as most of you around here might be a little privileged, you can tell truly that the monies you have kept to hold yourselves with are going down. And whether you like it or not, there are the poor in your community. In Alibo, there are a lot of poor people here. I don't care what you like to say. I don't care what you need to say to sound good or to appear a certain way. No. In reality, there are the poor amongst us, and they are the majority of us. It is true, they are the majority of us. And yes, it is the same thing everywhere, because the Southeast was not excluded in the stampedes that happened in December. So yes, the hunger is everywhere. They are not selling petroleum any different in the East. Transportation does not cost any cheaper in the East. Neither does electricity tariff cost any cheaper here. And you might tell yourself that we are resilient and we are hardworking people. But yes, a failing system is everybody's cup of tea. I don't care what you tell yourself. All right? Yeah, and that's for all of us, including myself. Because we tend to confuse ourselves with our own delusions. This is not funny. If it continues to go up, you can tell yourself whatever you like to tell yourselves. But the reality cannot be talked away. It doesn't matter how much of the grace of God I pull down with my mouth. It wouldn't change the fact that families are finding it very difficult to feed themselves, to send their children to school. Families are moving back home to the villages. It is true. And do not forget, we have the absolutely helpless and needy in our society, like widows and orphans and people who do not have the regular standings that most of us are privileged to have. But I guess in our society, we have completely forgotten all the major parts of our living conditions. We've forgotten our own humanity. We have forgotten. We're forgetting completely who we are as a people. We claim to love God. We claim to be good people. We pretend that we are nice people, that we are caring people, that we are people of God. But the results that we keep on producing collectively does not speak so. And it doesn't matter how much talking we do. By their fruits, we shall always know them. So if you think that the fruits we're producing as a collective is in good spirits, then fine. But if you do not think that we're doing okay, If your religion means anything to you, and the gods that you are all calling in your different languages and sectors and styles and different ways, if you really care, if we really care, then our actions will come out to be different. And that's a food for thought this morning. Oshun West Guba candidate will seal APC victory, says ex-chairman. Don't forget that the APC had already told us last year that Oshun State is already in the bag. So I think that whatever happens in 2026 in Oshun State, we will not be surprised to see that. Rivers, PDP appoints interim leadership after court sacked state ESCO. There is always something going on in Rivers State, and it will continue to be so until the rivalry between Wike and Fubara dies down. So far, no. So we're still on the watch out for everything that concerns River State. All right, that's the much we can take on the Daily Post this morning. Let's quickly move over to the Vanguard and see what's good this morning. All right, on the news, why Boko Haram and bandits thrive and how NGOs and others aid terrorists, former generals and commanders. Did you hear what I said? All right. Boko Haram, bandits thrive. All right. How NGOs and others aid terrorists, former generals and commanders too. Only in Nigeria would you hear these audacious and bold headlines. Betrayal of country and nations and such high political crimes being committed very nicely and slightly, no prosecutions, nothing. You can actually do a whistle blow or try to call the attention of the Nigerian authorities over information you have, and trust me, you will be the one to get into trouble. So it's even difficult to try to help. It's difficult to try to help. Yeah, you can actually help someone in this country and get into trouble for it. So I don't know. It's really, really difficult to put your hands on what our actual problems and solution might be. It's hard. You try to speak for the people, they come for you. You try to address the government, they come for you. So you don't even know. Perhaps some people say that the people deserve their leaders. And if you do look at that statement, you will see some of the truth in it, considering that the leaders are often the people, more often than not. It's the people, because from amongst the people, the leaders do emerge. So if the leaders are like this, does it say something about the underlying nature of the Nigerian person? Are we innately bad people who cannot do anything right? Does it mean we don't have goodness in us? These questions we should ponder. All right, if we're not able to get this part of our lives together, then is there something innately wrong with us, or this is just a problem that will pass away over time? But if you know anything about human pattern and human behavior, then you would know that this is not as surface level as it looks. It's way deeper than this. And we must look into it. All right? All right, let's move forward. The federal government replies Emir Sanusi. Apparently, this government doesn't want any criticisms whatsoever. So they are quick to respond anytime someone says anything that they do not appreciate. All right, so the federal government says we don't need your support for Tinubu's policies. The federal government replies Emir Sanusi. Telecom to review. FG proposes a 30-60 hike. Nonetheless, but this time around it's not 100% anymore. We're looking at a 60-30 relationship or 30-60 relationship where we get to slash it down. So we do 30 first, and over time we take it to 60, and perhaps we will still get to 100, but we can take it from the little steps. Yeah, the country. We're really hoping the country. We're really hoping that this trend that the present ruling party has put into motion does not continue to become a constant. And we hope that this level of human rights violation by especially the political class in this country, we hope it's not something that we continue to see in the future, because that will be very, all right. So hopefully the, the legislature in this country is watching out, and we hope that they can do something to protect the rights and interests of Nigerians. I do hope that they have not actually forgotten what their responsibilities are to the people in this country. We do understand that selfish interest sometimes takes the front burner in most of the decisions made in this country, but I hope, for the sake of the oaths that some of you have sworn, I hope that you do not want to leave it completely in the hands of people who might not care about this country. We hope that you continue to look out for the justice system in this country and make sure that they do not completely drag it to the mud, thereby taking away all hope from the Nigerian people. I hope that you remember what your responsibilities are to the rule of law in this country. All right, UAE President Sheikh Al Nahyan to visit Nigeria this year, says the presidency. The invitations has already gone up. Alafin, how selection process turned controversial. All right, ICPC drags El Rufai's former aide Jimmy Lawal and 3 others to court over money laundering. All of them are in court for money laundering, but no one is ever prosecuted except Godwin Emefiele for very obvious reasons. But every other person seems to have skipped their money laundering charges by paying some mediocre fine and going back home to go and enjoy their beautiful mansions wherever it is it may be. But yeah, that's our situation. Ayedatiwa dissolves cabinet and retains finance commissioner and general attorney. All right, Buhari's ex-aide affirms Sheyi Tinubu's eligibility to contest for Lagos governorship seat. We thought people with Igbo wives were not allowed to contest governorship in Lagos State, considering GVR road survivor who was supposed to win the Labour Party candidatorship for Lagos State election and governorship. But unfortunately, for so many reasons which we saw, that the fact that he wasn't Yoruba enough, considering that he was married to an Igbo woman and had half Igbo children, he was unqualified. And now that the president's son, who is also known to be married to an Igbo woman, is being fronted as the best and the right candidate for Lagos State governorship election come 2027, is we're wondering what's the difference. Is why is Sheyi Tinubu suddenly qualified and Rhodes Vival was not qualified? That's Badevo. He was not qualified. I remember reading that because he wasn't Omo Yoruba enough, because he had this Igbo wife and had Igbo in-laws and had Igbo kids as well, Igbo children, because of his Igbo wife. So Sheyi Tinubu is being fronted seriously for Lagos State governorship election, and political theorists will tell you that he stands a very strong chance. Now, do you think Sheyi Tinubu has a chance of becoming Lagos State governor? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much chance do you think he has? Off the top of my head, I think he has an 8% chance of becoming the Lagos State governor next if politics is anything to go by. If the judgment is clear, anything can happen, but from ground, he stands a very strong chance. But if you think he doesn't stand a chance, or you think he has a chance, you can also share your views with me this morning. 0706 048 5853. Also call 0915 570-8347. You can also join on YouTube, comment, like, and share. It's High Voltage News. You can subscribe right now. All right. Budget defense. Senators clash over Tinubu's housing program. All right. Find out more on these stories on your favorite news channels, especially High Voltage News. All right, let's take it to the Punch and see if there are interesting things to pick up this morning. 34.8% inflation rate triggers fear of rising prices and more hardship for Nigerians. That's the first thing on the Punch news this morning. Retired generals and others worry over fresh terror attack in the northeast. It's not piping down in the north, is it? Northern governors, get to work. All right, get to work, people. Get to work. All right, it's just a lot more banditry and kidnappings that's all over the news this morning, especially on the Punch newspaper. But let me see, 700 billion naira required to maintain federal roads annually, says the federal government. Moving forward, Dangote refinery petrol. Okay, so Dangote refinery petrol production is affecting European markets, says OPEC. All right, we shall find out more on that story. Customs have seized 397 vehicles in 2024, says the CGC. All right, let's see if there is more. APC and PDP bicker as suspected thugs fire shots at the Edo Election Tribunal. All right, Edo State is, we're wondering who's running things over there. Is it the PDP or is it really Monday? We don't know what's really going on over there, but we wish them the very best, and we hope that all of these crises turns down so that the new governor can actually get to work. You know, a lot of time is being spent going back and forth, especially with the PDP. All right, moving forward, Sokoto ex-governor Bafarawa dumps PDP for new interests. All right, we talked about this yesterday. We're still going to see a lot of leaving the PDP for new interests. In the next months and years before 2027, a lot more interests will come up before 2027. We will be here to tell you as it is. All right, let's see how much more we can grab. NSC boss Diko pledges support for school sports. Okay, that's the much we can take from the news headlines this morning. Okay, I wanted to see if I can tell you a few stories from the Sahara Reporters. Okay, this morning, we don't need Emir of Kano's approval for tribunals. Okay, for Tinubu's administration's policies, Nigerian government hits back at Sanusi. All right, so the former governor of the central bank, that is Emir Sanusi, stated on Monday that he will not help the government regarding Nigeria's current economic challenges. And of course, in response to that particular statement, the Nigerian government have stated that they do not need his support to carry out their policies. Yeah, they really don't. They really don't. Okay, they don't. Breaking news, Nigerian House of Reps member Oriyomi Ijaya Onanuga dies. May she and all the souls of those lost rest in peace. Okay, so moving forward, Nigeria-born mother and 27 killed by a pack of dogs at a friend's house in Italy, and that's on foreign news this morning. ICPC files embezzlement charges against El Rufai's former aide, Jimmy. Okay, let's see if there is more. Wike revokes lands. Okay, I need to take the story in full. Hope Uzodinma and Duoye And a few other people are indicted in this wiki allocation of land situation. All right, let me see if I can grab that story, if the network is not going to be my enemy this morning. But I would really love to share this particular story with you, as it's important that we know about it. All right, while we're waiting for these guys to come up with the story. Okay, we're ready. All right, so Wike revokes land allocations of Governor Hope Uzodinma, Duoye, and Senate Leader Bamidele, and of course, Abike Dabiri, and my bad, 564 others in Abuja. Now listen to this. The rights of occupancy, that is the RFO, for 568 land allottees have been withdrawn due to their failures to pay their certificate of occupancy bills within the extended 2-week period that had been given to them. Now, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has revoked the land allocations belonging to some governors and other political bigwigs. The Bayelsa and Imo State governors, Senator Diri Doye and Senator Hope Uzodinma, Senate leader Obeyemi Bamidele, and the People's Democratic Party PDP National Secretary Samuel Anyanwu. They are also amongst the 568 persons whose land allocation in Maitama 2 and Cadastral Zone A10, Abuja, were withdrawn by the minister. Now, the rights of occupancy for the 568 land allottees have been withdrawn due to their failure to pay their certificate of occupancy bills. According to Larry Olayinka, that's the media aide to the minister, the withdrawal was a direct consequence of the allottees not meeting up with payment deadlines. Now, this move affects several high-profile individuals, including governors and senators who were amongst. All right? This turns out the warrant for them to pay their CFOs was given out in the early days of October 2024, and a total of 3,273 of them were offered 2 weeks to pay their bills or lose their RFO titles, which out of them 2,511 people complied, leaving out 762. And guess what? These 762 people are also government officials, and I am assuming that the 2,711 people who paid out of the 3,000 people who were supposed to were not almost as powerfully stable as the people who refused to pay. So I guess even with all of that power and all of that resources, it's also difficult for powerful people to do what is right. So Nyesom Wike, for once, is doing something that a lot of people might not have the nerve nor the audacity to do in this country. Holding men of such caliber to accountability is something that we don't regularly see. Now, will they necessarily pay these CFOs? We don't know. But it is okay. I like the fact that they are being called out to it. You know, it is not right. They are supposed to pay. You cannot keep getting everything free from Nigeria. Nigeria is not a jamboree. Nigeria is not a dispenser, a free dispenser for goodies, especially for a few selected members of her society. All right? So if you're supposed to pay a CFO for a property, for goodness sakes, you being high-profile members of society should make sure that you're not supposed to be in this conversation at all. Because first things first, you can afford to pay for these properties. You can afford them 10 times over. You know that. But you want to keep taking. You want to keep taking from this country. You want to take everything from her for free. Well, you've heard your names from the governors to the senators. Please, can we all respect ourselves and go do what is right. This does not look good for any of you, and this does not definitely look good for the country as a whole. This is almost embarrassing. Everyone should fix up. All right, let me quickly take you to our investigated stories, give you one or two stories there before we also leave it up this morning. Sorry that Barrister Ngene, who was supposed to be here for the analysis this morning, he took a rent check because he had something important to do in the courts this morning. But I will try to bring him here on a very better day so that he can explain some of these things that we've seen in the news, especially this past week, to us. All right, about Obasa, he has been alleged to have mismanaged 43 billion naira. Now, the question is the story about Speaker of the Lagos State House of Representatives, Obasa, and the way this money was mismanaged has not been made apparent to us. The full story has not been told, which is one of the Nigerian problems. Half-baked stories that you never hear nothing about. The EFCC once made an announcement sometime in November about the biggest get back they will ever make of properties, and it was about 700 plus worth of estate lands and buildings in Abuja, whom they refused to disclose who owned it. Till today, the EFCC never told Nigerians, or probably will never tell Nigerians, how and who owned that property that they seized. The highest seizure ever made in this country, 700 plus buildings in an estate belonging to a Nigerian apparently, but we cannot which of the Nigerians owns such massive properties. We don't know. And things like this, mismanagement of funds and embezzlements and siphoning resources, we don't know how and whom is what. And we might just hear a one-time headline and would never hear anything again. And those stories will die natural deaths, like nothing happened. These are the issues that I speak of. All right, let me also tell you that the Yoruba elders have warned that the introduction of Sharia court in Oyo State will bring chaos to Yoruba land. In case this is your first time coming across the story, the Sharia law has been proposed in Oyo State and other southwestern states where they practice Islam. So they are asking that they just round it all up and become, Sharia inclined because of their Islam affiliations. Now, the Yorubas are very conflicted about this particular headline because a lot of work is going towards it. A lot of intelligence is going towards making that achievable. And there's a lot of a revolt coming from the people of Oyo State and other Yorubas at large, calling attention to the things that might go wrong if the Sharia law completely takes full effect in Oyo State and other southwestern states. That's what's on the news this morning. You can also check them out for yourself. From the Sahara Reporters, open display by armed political thugs carrying guns at the venue of the Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. Okay, so we've seen this. We also saw moves like this during the elections itself. So I don't know. There are videos. There's visual claim to this. It's not like it's some conversation. I'm literally looking at it here. So I don't know if this is how we will continue to do things. Why then are we complaining? If these processes will repeat themselves, if we have contesting officers who will come in to take offices, say things like take it, grab it and run with it, it's a do or die affair, it must happen, if we will continue to do this, why do we bother to see if we can make a change? Why do we care? Anyways, something from the local. The governor of Enugu State, that is our dear governor, His Excellency Peter Mba, was pleased to receive Senator Ojuzo Carlo the former governor of Abia State, representing Abia North Senatorial District and chairman of the Senate Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, yesterday in his office, where they discussed key issues affecting the Southeast, and was both insightful and productive. So the governor of Enugu State is, who knows what he has in stock, but the guy seems to be on some trajectory, and the trajectory seems to be forward. We are also, someone like me, I agree with him on some of his policies. I am also against his taxation policies, and I am against his human relationship with the people of Enugu. But that's just me. But outside of that, excellent working ethic, excellent vision, excellent business idea, excellent innovator and entrepreneur. So well done, our dear Governor Ndubisi Mba. Greetings to you, sir. And that is how we will end it this morning. I decided to read you the Enugu State story last because that's the only good thing on the news this morning. But that's as much as it goes. Tomorrow we will repeat this again, but then it's always a continuation of where the last one stopped. All I'm asking is that I come here one day, and the stories that are coming out are stories about how it is getting better. You know, when I come, I read you something opposite of what I usually tell you. Instead of telling you that the the tariff is going to do a hike, or that the crude oil is done a hike, maybe I tell you something different for once. I tell you the prices are coming down. Or how about I come here one day and tell you that a bag of rice has now gone down to 70,000 naira or to 50,000 naira. How about I come back here tomorrow and there is some good news that I have for you and I. That is what I am hoping for. That is what I am calling on the people who are in power to do. Can you please change the stories that are coming out of our country? Can you do that? Can you make it a priority to make our jobs easier, both yours and mine? If we can change the narrative, if I come here and tell something different, and we can put a little life back into the community, back into our society, maybe we will all be happier for it. Because despite that, you might all lock up your hearts and be strong-hearted against the people's cry and plea. But I am sure that this discomfort is not making you the most comfortable people in your big houses, in your big mansions, and your big cars. So I'm thinking, if you would relieve the people just a little bit, you too might get to experience maybe a little relief yourself. On that note, I will encourage everyone to love yourself first, and then from there you will have some to love your neighbor from. All right, continue to do that so that we can take care of ourselves and our loved ones. My name is Mavis Atudumi. I'll see you again tomorrow morning on High Voltage. Thank you so much for joining me. If you called and I couldn't take your calls, absolutely, we'll do this again tomorrow. Do well to call early so that we be able to have time to have a great conversation. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning.